how organizations develop activists. And what can an association do to culture activism? Well, let me tell you, the key is there's a combination of transformational organizing with transactional mobilizing. And high engagement means that in future there's the foundation for more optimum organizing. There's three models of engagement. The first one, perhaps not the best, is the lone wolf. They don't put effort into engaging with others. They focus instead on building their own power to become perhaps accurate sources of information or decision makers. And in part, they think that they actually don't have enough resource to organize and engage with a large number of people. And because they're part of membership-based organizations, they still have to try and keep other people updated, but they do so really by providing an update rather than engaging with others. Next, you have mobilizers. Now, mobilizers focus on maximizing the number of people involved without actually developing the other people's actions. So they may build power by transactional outcomes, like building an association's membership. And they try and get as many people as involved as possible, but they do not try to transform the people or cultivate the volunteers for further activism. Instead, they take people as what they are, and some may only act once, others may become involved in over a longer time with that organization. And really, they're quite good because they can allow people to contribute as much as they want, and they let people self-select the level of activism they want to be involved in. And to get enough people to accomplish their goals, they try to build bigger and bigger, almost targeted lists of people to maximize the chance of getting action. The third and potentially best way is an organizer. Now, organizers invest in developing the capabilities of people so that they can engage in activism and become leaders themselves. They don't simply aggregate individuals, but also try and build and create new relationships between people so that more commitment is provided over time. And this has the potential to build up resource, bringing people together for collective activity. And these organizations can then teach the basic skills of democratic citizenship whilst advocating for their members' interests. So this book studies two US-based organizations, which it refers to as chapters. And they attended lots of meetings and had the opportunity to review in detail notes from these organizations and followed them up over a time frame to see which one engaged the most activism. It doesn't actually identify which organization did this the best. It mentions one of the organizations was some sort of National Association of Doctors in the US, and the other related to People for the Environment. And generally, a high engagement chapter had more mobilizers and organizers. And this followed up over 1 year and found that those high engagement chapters had people who are much more likely to have taken action, whereas low engagement chapters more had the individual lone wolves focused or just purely focused on mobilizing. As I've mentioned, when mobilizing, you don't actually cultivate the skills in your members or particularly motivate them, whereas organizers transform this capacity and by doing that actually turn people into activists and leaders. A word of warning about organizers. if you go event by event, organizing one event at a time, all of your focus is on event organization, rather than what ideally the scenario is, you organize other organizers, allowing events to occur so you can also keep focused on the bigger picture. Time and effort is the most valuable resource that activists potentially have, and really your goal as a leader is to make them work quickly and give easy work so that they can complete a task. So often organizations will give fairly clear, strict remit with instructions, as most people are doing this in their own time for free. And by actually providing these tightly structured tasks that individuals can complete, they in turn become more committed to the organization. A key assumption in transformational organization is that interpersonal relationships, activists have the locus of leadership, development, and transformation. The choice to take action is not conceptualized as the product of a cost-benefit calculation, but is instead the product of a set of dynamic interactions. To build that activist's leader capacity, the organization actually designs activists' work to develop that collective capacity instead of isolating somebody. Activists must have opportunities to work with others, and this can help activists operate practically, emotionally, and at cognitive levels. Practical support that you may provide could be providing material or technical skills and resources. Emotional and motivational support will help those activists navigate the complex, often emotional landscape. And cognitive support actually empowers the activists by making them understand that what they're doing actually matters. And it's interesting, if you can ask somebody to reflect on their experience, that reflection process makes them think about it more, and they may think this is then more important and be more committed in future. Whereas if you've got somebody who's working interdependently, although that is necessary at times, that then relies on intrinsic motivation that the actual work is satisfying. If it's not satisfying, that's when you need to boost the practical, emotional, and cognitive support to that individual. And if you can get this collective support to your activists, it will really help develop them and achieve scale. So an example was given of a leader who was recruited and accepted a title of a leadership position. In turn, they then sent out emails trying to activate others to become involved. And this very process actually made the newly appointed leader more committed to the task itself. Reciprocity, contact, and support are some of the factors that can actually increase this sense of social connectiveness, thereby making people more responsive if and when you provide a call for action. And these high engagement chapters, you may think it's luck, you may think it's charisma, but they'd actually often use the same set of processes which were designed not only to reach out to the largest, broadest pool of people, but also to then cultivate them and transform them and build this sense of community and structure along with purpose that will ensure there's an ongoing commitment to the cause. So really one of the key findings from this book is that when associations manage to create transformative experiences for their members, the members are more likely to engage in activism. I do hope that you found that helpful. I'd like to call an action to you all now to write below, like, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.